Maya sat under the wide oak tree in the city park, her notebook open on her knees. The afternoon air smelled like cut grass and warm food from a nearby cart. She wrote slowly, careful with each answer, because school felt like a ladder she had to climb alone. Around her, kids laughed near the swings, and a few parents talked in small circles. Maya kept her hoodie close, not to hide, but to feel steady in her own skin. She was waiting for her mom, the one person who always arrived like sunrise. A small dog barked, and Maya looked up to see a woman holding a tight leash. The woman's hair was neat, her shoes clean, and her eyes moved over Maya like a searchlight. She stopped near a bench, pretending to watch her dog, yet her gaze kept returning to the tree. Maya tried to ignore it. She had learned that attention could turn into trouble without warning. She lowered her eyes to the page again, counting breaths as she worked through a math problem. Still, the feeling of being watched pressed on her shoulders like a heavy backpack. The woman stepped closer, not close enough to speak, but close enough to be clear. She raised her phone, angled it slightly, and then looked around as if asking the park to agree with her. Maya heard her voice in pieces, the words careful, polite, and sharp all at once. She said she had noticed someone who did not seem to belong, someone sitting alone, someone suspicious. Maya's stomach tightened, because she knew the shape of that sentence. She had met it before. She wanted to stand and leave, yet she was waiting for her mom, and leaving felt like admitting guilt. A patrol car rolled in, slow across the gravel, and the park seemed to shrink around the sound. The officer stepped out, his uniform crisp, his face set in a professional mask. He spoke to the woman first, nodding as she pointed toward the oak tree with quick certainty. Then he walked toward Maya, stopping a few steps away, hands relaxed but ready. Maya stood, keeping her notebook in one hand like a shield made of paper. She told herself to stay calm, to answer clearly, to give nothing that could be twisted. The officer asked her name, and she said Maya, steady enough that her voice did not wobble. He asked what she was doing, and she lifted the notebook so he could see the homework. He asked why she was here, and she said she was waiting for her mom to pick her up after work. The officer listened, yet his eyes kept flicking back to the woman, as if her fear held more weight than Maya's truth. Maya felt heat rise in her face, not from shame, but from the unfairness of being judged without a story. She held her shoulders square, even though her hands wanted to shake. The woman walked over, staying behind the officer like a shadow that wanted the spotlight. She spoke about safety, about children, about how she could not take chances, her voice louder now. Maya watched other parents glance over and then look away, as if looking too long might pull them in. The officer asked if Maya had an adult with her, and she said yes, her mom was coming soon. He asked for a phone number, and Maya recited it, hoping her mom would answer on the first ring. The woman crossed her arms, satisfied, as if she had already won something she could not name. The officer called, and Maya listened to the ring tone like it was a countdown. 1 ring, 2 rings, and then her mom's voice came through, calm, clear, and awake. Maya could not hear the words, but she saw the officer's posture change in a quiet instant. His eyebrows lifted, his jaw tightened, and he stepped slightly away from the woman as if making space. He asked a question into the phone, and then he said yes ma'am, twice, with a respect that sounded rehearsed. The woman blinked, confused by the shift, and her dog stopped barking as if it sensed the new balance. The officer ended the call and looked at Maya with a different kind of focus, not suspicion but caution. He told her to sit, and he spoke in a softer tone, saying they would wait for her mother to arrive. Maya sat on the grass, folding her hands, feeling every second stretch and echo inside her chest. The woman demanded to know what was happening, and the officer raised a hand for patience. Across the park, heads turned, and the air felt tighter, like a storm waiting behind sunlight. Maya stared at the roots of the oak tree and reminded herself that she had done nothing wrong. A black SUV appeared at the park entrance, moving slow and smooth, and it parked beside the patrol car. A woman stepped out, tall and composed, her dark jacket catching the light, her eyes scanning for Maya. Maya stood before she even thought, her body reacting to the safety in that familiar shape. The woman walked straight to her, wrapped her in a firm hug, and whispered that she was here now. Then she turned toward the officer, her face calm, and introduced herself with a name and a title that quieted the park. The woman with the dog went still, her mouth half open, as if the world had changed in one breath. The officer straightened, his voice careful and formal in the sunlight. Maya's mom set a steady hand on Maya's shoulder and faced the woman with the phone. She asked why a child with homework was treated like danger. The woman with the dog swallowed, her certainty slipping, the leash tight in her grip. The park went quiet, waiting for the next words. Maya lifted her chin, trusting her mom to speak for her. Maya stood close to her mother, feeling the steady rise and fall of her breathing. The park no longer felt open and wide, it felt like a room with invisible walls. Her mother did not raise her voice, yet every word seemed to travel far. She asked the officer to explain what danger he believed her child caused. The officer cleared his throat and spoke carefully, choosing words like fragile glass. People nearby slowed their steps, drawn in by the quiet strength of the moment. The woman with the dog shifted her weight and tried to speak again. Her words came out unsure, tangled in explanations about fear and habit. She said she only wanted to keep the park safe for everyone. Maya watched her hands tremble slightly around the leash. For the first time, the woman did not sound certain of herself. The confidence she carried before now looked borrowed and thin. Maya's mother listened without interrupting, her eyes steady and focused. She nodded once, not in agreement, but to show she had heard enough. She asked the woman why safety only appeared when her daughter arrived. The question hung in the air, heavy and unanswered. A few parents nearby looked down, others watched closely. The park felt like it was holding its breath. The officer shifted his stance and apologized to Maya directly. His voice was quieter now, stripped of authority and filled with regret. He said he should have asked better questions before acting. Maya nodded slowly, unsure how to respond. Her mother placed a gentle hand on her back, grounding her. That simple touch made Maya feel taller than she had moments before. The woman with the dog stepped back, eyes wide with realization. She finally noticed the way people were watching her. Her cheeks flushed as understanding settled in. She opened her mouth to speak again, but no words came. The leash slackened as her dog sat quietly at her feet. In that silence the truth felt louder than any argument. Maya's mother spoke again, her voice calm but firm. She explained that assumptions can harm even when disguised as concern. She spoke of children carrying weight they should never have to carry. Each sentence landed with care and purpose. No one interrupted her, not even the officer. The park seemed to lean toward her words. Maya listened closely, storing every word deep inside. She realized this moment was not only about her. It was about how easily fear can be aimed at the wrong person. She felt something new settle in her chest, a quiet strength. Not anger, not sadness, but understanding. Understanding that she was seen and protected. The officer nodded slowly and thanked Maya's mother for speaking honestly. He said he would reflect on what happened. His apology came again, this time to both of them. Maya believed him, or at least wanted to. She could see the effort in his eyes. Effort mattered, even if it came late. The woman with the dog finally spoke, her voice low. She said she did not mean to cause harm. The words sounded small against the space they were in. Maya's mother acknowledged her without offering comfort. Not unkind, just clear. Some lessons are meant to sit without softening. A few parents stepped closer and murmured support. One woman nodded at Maya with a gentle smile. Another whispered that she was brave. Maya did not feel brave, she felt tired. But the kindness eased the tightness in her chest. She realized support can come from unexpected places. Maya's mother told the officer they would be leaving now. She thanked him for listening and turned away. Maya followed, her steps lighter than before. As they walked toward the SUV, Maya glanced back once. The woman with the dog stood still, staring at the ground. The park slowly returned to its normal rhythm. Inside the SUV, Maya let out a breath she did not know she was holding. Her mother started the engine but did not drive right away. She asked Maya if she was okay, really okay. Maya nodded, then shook her head, then nodded again. Her mother smiled softly, understanding the mix of feelings. She told Maya she handled everything with grace. The SUV pulled away from the park, leaving the oak tree behind. Maya watched it fade through the window. She knew she would remember this place differently now. Not as a place of fear, but as a place of truth. Truth spoken clearly and calmly. Truth that could not be ignored. Maya sat in the quiet of her room that evening, the soft light from the window resting on her desk. The sounds of the street outside felt far away, like they belonged to another world. Her backpack leaned against the wall, still holding the notebook from the park. She thought about the oak tree and how different it felt now in her memory. Moments replayed slowly in her mind, each word and pause finding its place. She wondered why some days changed a person while others passed without leaving a mark. This day stayed with her, steady and heavy at the same time. Her mother moved through the house with calm purpose, making tea and warming food. She did not rush, as if time itself had slowed to match her breathing. Maya watched her from the doorway, feeling safe but also thoughtful. She wanted to ask questions, many of them, but did not know where to start. Her mother noticed the look and invited her to sit at the table. They shared the quiet without pressure, letting the moment settle naturally. Sometimes silence felt like the most honest language. Maya finally spoke about the park and how small she felt at first. She said it was not just the officer or the woman, but the eyes around them. Her mother listened closely, her face open and steady. She said feelings like that were real and deserved space. She reminded Maya that being calm did not mean being weak. Strength could look like patience and truth spoken clearly. Maya felt those words take root inside her. Her mother shared stories from her own past, moments when she had been judged unfairly. She explained that experience taught her when to speak and when to stand firm. Each story felt like a bridge between them, built with trust. Maya realized her mother carried many moments like this quietly. The thought made her respect deepen in a new way. She understood that protection sometimes came from long practice. That knowledge made her feel less alone. The next day at school moved differently for Maya. Hallways felt the same, yet she walked them with a new awareness. She noticed small things, like how voices changed when adults were near. She paid attention to who listened and who turned away. Nothing dramatic happened, yet everything felt sharper. She answered questions with more confidence than before. Teachers noticed the change even if they did not name it. At lunch, Maya sat with friends and listened more than she spoke. She realized everyone carried unseen stories into the room. Some were light, some heavy, all real. The park moment had opened her eyes to quiet struggles around her. She felt a growing sense of empathy settle in her chest. Not pity, but understanding that connected people without words. It made her kinder in small, careful ways. That evening, Maya returned to her homework with focus. The notebook no longer felt like a shield but a tool. She solved problems slowly, trusting herself to find the answers. Her mother checked in, offering help without hovering. Maya smiled, grateful for the balance between guidance and freedom. She felt capable, not because nothing could hurt her, but because she knew she could face hard moments. Later, as night settled over the house, Maya lay awake thinking. She knew the world would not suddenly become fair or gentle. But she also knew she had a voice and support behind it. The park no longer felt like a place of fear in her mind. It felt like the start of understanding her place in the world. A place where truth had been spoken and heard. That thought carried her into sleep with quiet strength. Maya woke up early the next morning with sunlight pressing gently through the curtains. The house felt calm and steady, like it was holding her carefully. She dressed slowly, thinking about the days ahead and how something inside her had shifted. Her reflection in the mirror looked the same, yet she felt different behind her eyes. She took a deep breath and reminded herself that she belonged wherever she stood. Downstairs her mother was already awake, moving with quiet confidence through the kitchen. The smell of warm food wrapped the space in comfort and safety. At breakfast they talked about ordinary things like school and plans for the week. The normal conversation felt important, like proof that life continued forward. Maya noticed how her mother watched her closely, not with worry, but with pride. She asked Maya how she was feeling today and waited patiently for the answer. Maya said she felt stronger even if she could not explain why. Her mother nodded and said growth often feels that way at first. They shared a smile that carried more meaning than words. On the walk to school Maya noticed the street more clearly. She saw neighbors greeting each other and cars moving past in steady rhythm. Nothing looked changed, yet she felt more present inside each step. She remembered her mother's calm voice at the park and held onto it. That voice had not pushed or demanded, it had simply spoken truth. Maya realized that kind of strength was something she wanted to learn. The thought stayed with her as she entered the school building. Classes passed one by one and Maya stayed focused. She raised her hand when she knew the answer and listened when she did not. Her teacher noticed the confidence and encouraged her with a nod. Small moments like that built quietly on top of each other. During group work Maya spoke clearly and did not shrink back. Her classmates listened and respected her ideas. That simple exchange made her feel seen in a new way. After school Maya walked home instead of taking a ride. She wanted the time alone to think and breathe. The sky stretched wide above her and the air felt light. She replayed the park moment again, but it no longer hurt. Instead it felt like a lesson that had already settled. She understood that some moments arrive to teach courage. And courage often appears when it is needed most. At home her mother arrived later carrying the weight of her workday. Still she set it aside easily when she saw Maya waiting. They talked while preparing dinner, sharing small stories and laughter. Maya noticed how her mother balanced responsibility with warmth. She realized leadership did not remove kindness, it strengthened it. That understanding filled Maya with admiration and clarity. She knew she was learning simply by watching. As evening settled, they sat together in the living room. The quiet felt full rather than empty. Maya asked her mother how she learned to speak calmly in hard moments. Her mother said it came from listening first and knowing who you are. She said fear loses power when faced with truth. Maya listened closely, knowing these words would stay with her. They felt like guidance meant to last beyond this moment. When night arrived, Maya lay in bed looking at the ceiling. She thought about the future and the many spaces she would enter. Not all would be easy, but she felt ready to stand in them. She understood now that dignity did not need permission. It lived inside her, waiting to be claimed. With that thought she closed her eyes peacefully. The strength she found that day rested quietly within her. Maya returned to the park weeks later on a calm afternoon with her mother walking beside her. The same oak tree stood tall with its branches wide and steady. Sunlight filtered through the leaves, creating soft patterns on the grass. Children played nearby and the sounds felt gentle rather than sharp. Maya felt a quiet sense of ownership over the space. Not control, but belonging. She realized the park had not changed, she had. They sat on the same spot where Maya once felt small. Her notebook rested in her lap, but she did not open it right away. She watched people move and felt calm rather than alert. Her mother sat nearby reading, but always aware. Maya noticed how comfort grows when fear loses its voice. She took a slow breath and smiled to herself. This place no longer held power over her. A young child ran past laughing and Maya laughed too. The sound surprised her but felt natural. She remembered how tense her body once felt here. Now her shoulders were loose and her thoughts clear. The memory of that day stayed with her, but it no longer hurt. It felt like a marker of growth. A point where something inside her had settled. Her mother looked up and caught Maya smiling. They shared a quiet moment without speaking. Maya understood that support does not always need words. Sometimes it is simply presence. She felt grateful for the steady strength beside her. That strength had shown her how to stand without shouting, how to be firm without being hard. Maya opened her notebook and began to write. Not homework this time but thoughts. She wrote about the park and the oak tree. She wrote about fear and how it can disguise itself. She wrote about calm voices and steady hands. Each word felt like placing a stone in a strong foundation. She realized stories help make sense of moments. As the afternoon moved on, Maya noticed the woman with the dog was not there. She did not feel relief or anger at the absence. Only neutrality. She understood that not every story needs a meeting again. Some lessons are meant to be carried forward quietly. That understanding felt mature and grounding. She closed the notebook satisfied. On the walk home, Maya and her mother talked about future plans. School projects, weekend ideas, and simple dreams. The conversation flowed easily without weight. Maya felt excitement about the road ahead. Not because it would be easy but because she felt ready. Ready to speak when needed. Ready to listen when unsure. At home, Maya helped prepare dinner, moving confidently through the kitchen. Her mother watched with a proud smile. They worked side by side, sharing space comfortably. Maya felt capable and trusted. That trust mattered more than praise. It told her she was growing into herself. Strong and thoughtful. Later that evening, Maya sat by the window watching the sky change colors. She thought about other kids who might feel watched or judged. She hoped they would have someone to stand beside them. She hoped she could be that person one day. The thought filled her with purpose. Not loud or urgent but steady. A purpose rooted in empathy. Before bed, Maya spoke with her mother one last time. She thanked her quietly. Her mother hugged her and said she would always be there. Maya believed her. That belief felt like a promise she could carry anywhere. She went to her room feeling peaceful, ready for rest. As sleep came, Maya understood something clearly. Moments of challenge do not define weakness. They reveal strength waiting to be claimed. She had learned to stand calmly and trust her voice. She knew now that dignity lives inside and cannot be taken. With that thought, she drifted into sleep. Grounded, hopeful, and sure.